Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now March 10th of 2025, and given that the Meghan Markle drama continues to get worse as time goes by, we already know that the ratings disaster is not improving when it comes to With Love Meghan, and there's already a lot of things going on between Meghan Markle herself, the board of directors, which by the way are divided. We have one half of the board that is completely sided and in support of Meghan Markle, while the other half really wants nothing to do with her anymore, and things of course really went Meghan Markle's way. We have a lot to talk about that and everything else going on between Meghan and the Netflix studio executives. But what's interesting about all this has a lot to do with Meghan Markle's overall response / reaction toward the critics, toward the ratings disaster, if you will, everything that has been going on with the reviews and how she's actually taking all of that. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing is for certain, and I've said this so many times, but I'll say it again, Meghan Markle is nothing more than a narcissistic, greedy, insufferable, self-absorbed individual to the point that it really just comes across as very phony, fake, inauthentic whenever she's on screen, right? Even the mainstream media pointed out that this show is so phony beyond belief. Now, what's interesting about all this has a lot more to do with Meghan Markle heading into damage control mode, because what other choice do you have when every single review out there is just bombarding your overall show in a negative way for valid reasons, right? Everything about this series is complete trash, alright? We've talked about this, the acting, the line delivery, the producing, everything related to the actual show. There's a lot of heavy flaws in there. However, with Love Meghan, of course, as a show, and with the Meghan Markle drama ratings for her series still not improving, one monumental development going on now that is active involves more to do with her overall recent behavior, not just toward the critics, but also toward her own fans in general. Markle went on to deliver damage control during her press tour for the series. I noticed that everyone likes to be a critic, she says, for the wrong reasons. Like, their motivation is obviously in the wrong place, and so they use their words to negatively impact others, or to push false narratives with their political beliefs. With our series on Netflix, we started to realize that everyone tries to be a critic, and it was obviously not fair to me, and it wasn't fair to the cast and crew, as well as Mindy Kaling, who has been just so amazing. But when you have this growing issue with sexism and misogyny, there is no denying the fact that this is still an ongoing issue that we must all face, and I think our show really defined what it means to be a woman of color specifically, and a woman of bravery who can make decisions for herself. I won't lie, but I have seen the reviews and I have seen the reactions, and a lot of that is coming from a very small minority of people. Don't get it twisted, haha. It's not a majority of the public that is using such words toward our show. It's nothing more than a very small group on social media platforms that have a very strong voice, and sometimes they can appear to be bigger than what they really are, and that is something that I just can't stand for. I just can't. This is why you have to have bravery as a woman, especially when you are getting hit with sexism and misogyny and bigotry. There is absolutely nothing authentic. There is absolutely something very authentic about our show, and those that claim that it's inauthentic about my show is obviously coming from a false narrative. This is coming from the heart, and so it gets exhausting when you hear so many say, well, this is obviously not a genuine series. Oh, believe me, it's genuine. What you say is what you see is what you get in this program, and I am very proud of it all. I ask everyone to ignore all the critics because we did such an amazing job. We shot so much extra footage that we didn't know what to do with it after, and so Netflix is doing something special with that. Now guys, let me just, pause here for 1 second. Now the thing about Meghan Markle is that we already talked about how there were already plans for a season 2. We talked about this several times, that they were using this as their contingency plan, quote unquote. Then that was cancelled, and then Meghan Markle got into the mix and really desperately tried to reverse action of that cancellation toward the board of directors that are actually on her side, and she actually got things done her way. This is exactly why the existing footage, the extra footage that they shot during season 1 and how that's going to be incorporated into season 2, that's basically what she's alluding to. There's no doubt about that. That's what she's alluding to. She may have not said that word for word, but she literally just admitted it right there. The extra footage that was shot for Season 1 will, of course, be used in a very special way by Netflix. And that's exactly why the board is just out of control. They don't know what they're doing. This is exactly why nobody wants to support Netflix anymore at this point. But moving onwards, and by the way, just before I get my other point across here, I will say, the Netflix board, the division over there, it's really reminding me of what's going on over at the Walt Disney Company. We have a lot to discuss on that front as well. She goes on to continue, and so Netflix is doing something special with that. For far too long, since a couple of years ago, we entered this era of what many like to call review bombing. It's happening to our show, again, from a minority that wants to ruin the fun for others. So many critics decided to watch our show and also gave us a better shot, so I thank all of you. But in the age of challenging sexism, misogyny, as well as bigotry, you have to stand up for yourself. Now guys, again, we know that there were a lot of editing phases throughout the show. They cut out a lot of footage. They also saved extra footage in the background as well. Obviously, that's also what she's alluding to. I would not doubt that Meghan Markle's lying in some areas here as well, and we'll have a lot more to talk about that in the coming days. But what's interesting about this, again, is the fact that she drags those words, those 3 annoying words, into her argument time and time again: sexism, misogyny, and bigotry. Alright? It is very much like what Amanda Stenberg said with the Acolyte Star Wars show. It is very much like what Rachel Zegler said in regards to the Snow White movie of 2025. This is no different. It's really just all copy and paste, material when it comes to how they say things, what they say toward critics, and they always like to say it's a small minority of people that are just very loud. It is quite honestly the opposite. The majority of people see through the phoniness, they see through the fakeness of Meghan Markle's show, and you know what? I think shame on Netflix for moving forward with a season 2 when they already had it canceled at one point and Meghan Markle got the other half of the board to reverse action on that. And by the way, we talked about this several times, days and days ago, about her trying to do that, and well, it seems like she was successful. Now, what's interesting about this, again, is that she goes on to conclude, you have to stand up for what's right in this world and what's right for yourself. We need a better system when it involves critics who try to come across as a larger percentage than they really are. Something that just needs to happen with that. Our series with Love Meghan will serve as inspiration to the modern woman, to also guide them to stand up against all the issues that I described. So again, I mean, there she goes again, saying how this show is all about uplifting the modern woman. And there's a lot of women out there, by the way, that do not like this show, that tried to give this show a shot, that really tried to give it a shot. They went through episodes 1 through 3. Thanks to all of you for actually informing us below in the comments on what you actually did with that series, how far you were able to get along in there. And you just backed out. Most people backed out within the first episode. It was that cringeworthy. It was that insufferable and just out of touch with reality when it comes to how the show is orchestrated, right? How it's actually produced, how it comes across to the audience. And that's why the test screenings just failed miserably one after the other, as we pointed out weeks and weeks ago. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.